case you're wondering, this is Mosaic Crochet. It's a design by Sixel. You can find this design called Bonez on her Etsy site or on her website. I believe the website is sixeldesign.com. Recently I had a creative urge, and yesterday I had Saturday I had a full-blown panic attack that lasted several hours, so I needed to have something to focus on, because after the attack Saturday, it's left me incapacitated for a few hours. Sunday I was exhausted. I took a 4-hour nap right after we got home from Mass, and I was still very tired. Woke up today, I'm still very tired. But those scary thoughts kept coming back, so I decided to focus on this. These are going to be some skeletons. I'm turning them into a backpack, I think. Do I need another bag? No. But I thought a skeleton backpack would be fun. Yay, Halloween. So this is actually the, oops, I've made a mistake. Well, you know what they say when you make a mistake. You get a frog back. They're supposed to be double crochet here, double crochet here, which means dipping down into the previous row. So I've just, oh well, blink, there we go. So for Mosaic Crochet, when you do a double crochet, you go down to the previous row, previous color, and you work it in that one, which in this design serves to separate the skeletons. Holding my hook with a knife grip. I only have one problem with the Mosaic Crochet designs. Supposedly the author of these patterns is using regular worsted weight yarn, but her and you know, small hooks, like this is an F hook, 3.75 millimeters, depending on where you are and how they size their hooks. Anyway, the designer of the pattern, her gauge, her dimensions always wind up so much smaller than mine. So I'm crocheting firmly. You know, these are very firm stitches. They're not loose and floppy like mine usually are. They're not relaxed. So even though I'm using a firm tension and supposedly the same size yarn as she has, even though she's using much higher quality yarn than mine, I mean, we just don't have access to fancy yarn around here unless we order it online or whatever. But this is Red Heart acrylic yarn, Super Saver. The price is right. I was just going to be playing around, learning, teaching myself mosaic crochet. I think I've caught on pretty well. I thought I would jump, well, I mean, for me, learning the theory behind new stitches or new techniques is useless until I put them into practice. So I thought, well, this design is cute. I've got the yarn that will work for it. And so I decided I'd try out her Bonez. So it's got some specialty mosaic stitches in it. and it's going pretty well. And I'm going to adapt her coffin backpack pattern to make this one into a backpack, because the straps look fantastic on hers, but I'll have to change the size somehow because, as I said, her gauge winds up being much, much smaller than mine, supposedly with the same, approximately the same size hooks and the same weight of yarn. But she's using cotton and silk and all that good stuff that I would love to buy someday, but it's a bit spendy. $28 for a hank of silk yarn when I can get, you know, this stuff for less than $5. Yeah. I'm the Red Heart Yarn economic class. It's okay. Maybe someday I can get the people who watch my videos to send me some spare change for buying nicer yarn to work with. That'd be nice. Other content creators have coffee money and beer money, and I need yarn money. And now I need scissors, which aren't to hand. Okay, and we are back. Crappy scissors, courtesy of the canine. When he was a puppy, he chewed them up, I suppose, because they taste like Mommy's touch. I am glad he loves me, though. Let's see. Okay. Now this next row, is just an entire row of single crochets. The funny thing is, in the pattern it shows up as the dark color, but I'll be working with the light color because on the next row lots of double crochets will come down and cover, like they did here and here. They'll cover up the single crochets, so that's how that'll work out. Okay, so we start out with this is row 46. Did that? Okay, so something's missing. What's that? Something's not right. Oh, you've got to make sure that you don't attach your border stitch in the wrong place. And I think I failed to make my border stitch single crochet on that last row. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't mess up. I can make it work. It's a border stitch. It's probably going to be hidden in a seam. Anyway, so what you're supposed to do is attach, pull the yarn in through, chain one, and single crochet. What are you chewing on? What you got? Oh. Chain one and then do your single crochet for your border stitch through the front loop and the back loop. Now the rest of this is just going to be single crochets, but when you're doing mosaic crochet single crochets, you typically only go into the back loop. Because if you use both loops, then in a couple rows when you need to come down into this loop, you're not going to have it available. If you want to learn how to do the mosaic crochet technique, I strongly recommend that you grab a hook and some yarn and just start. It's a little bit weird to figure out just looking at the pictures and the symbols, but once you get your hands on it, get your hands into it and get to stitching, it starts to make sense. I've seen some really beautiful blanket designs, and because it's mosaic crochet, you've got the double thickness here. Here's a row, here's a row. It's double, but look at the back. You can sort of see the design on the back, but it's thick, it's firm, it's a good crunchy texture. It's heavy, so if you wanted to make a coat out of this, it would probably be very warm as long as the wind's not blowing. No, warmer than a regular knit sweater would be. A little stiffer, so if you want to make actual garments with it, you probably would need to find some really soft drapey yarn. Still working into the back loop. Remember to make it a snug, firm stitch. If it's relaxed, you won't see the pattern very easily. The design. Okay, on the next row, we'll be able to show you how those double crochets cover up the previous row's white stitches. That didn't feel right. Yeah, it split the stitch. You do this for as long as I have you eventually feel it when a stitch goes wrong. I still need to see the stitches though. And yes, it's allergy season and my voice is a little rough. Sorry. All of my students are sick. I'm not yet. I'm disinfecting the daylights out of everything. I'm thinking that for my family's Christmas get-together this year, I would like to make everyone a matching hat. They won't have to wear them; they just wear them for the picture, wear them for the fun of it. And each year, I could make a different commemorative hat. And of course the girlfriends and fiancés can get their own honorary hats as well. Because you never can tell how long they'll be in the picture. Maybe forever. And that's fine. That's good. That's great. Then again, this year's girlfriend might be next year's memory. The way it goes. Okay. Now I'm on a gray rose, so I need to reattach the gray. Some charcoal. Red Heart Super Saver charcoal and Red Heart Super Saver white. Cheap stuff, but it's sturdy and it doesn't stretch, and the price is right. So is availability. Pull the end through, snug it a little bit so that it's not loose and floppy. Chain 1, single crochet into both loops because it's a border stitch. And then we're going to start with double crochets. Now, this double crochet is meant to go into the row before the last one. Build from there. Need one more. See how that nicely covers it up? When I first started learning, I thought, no way, is this right? You know, this little pocket here, pocket here, pocket here. This can't be right, this can't be right. But the author, Alexis, was actually very quick in responding, and she answered my question and said, yes, that's actually the way it's supposed to be. And the next part is single crochet, so we use the back loop only, which is going to make these white stitches show. It's the bottom of the skull there. And then because it's double crochet will go into the front loop 2 rows down. Get all those stitches in there. Look at me, I don't even have my yarn wound in my fingers like I normally do to tension it. Listen to this. It's got some heft to it. Look at that, I skipped a stitch. That's not good. There we go. Okay, now you see the bottom of the skull. See the shoulders, the rib cage, the pelvis, elbows, knees, thighs, calves, feet, and then the little backbone down here. There'll be some more backbone up here. And I hope I guessed at my dimensions right, because if I didn't, this is going to be a weird looking backpack. If I got it wrong, it's going to become a pillow, I'm sure. Not that I need yet another pillow, but it's fun. It's a fun pillow. It's Bonez. Mr. Bonez. So yes, this is as much about creating something cool as it is about completely distracting me from what's been troubling me. You know, the panic attack. And it tried to come back today, so I'm trying to keep it away. Thank you for coming along with me and assisting me. Here we are back to where we need the chin to show again. So I'm going to do the single crochets. No, that's right. That's right. Should be centered over that spine right there. This part is where the pattern became easier. Lots of long stretches of double crochets or single crochets. Now down here there were some special stitches. And I would complete the special stitches on one and then just kind of look at that and look back here. Look back here when it's time to do that and just follow the pattern because these are just repeats. So I didn't have to keep my pattern right in front of me and keep counting and, you know. At some point, just copying the pattern that you already have worked on becomes a little bit easier. I would love to create some of my own designs someday. So I'm hoping that as I work this project, I'll get a greater understanding of how all this works. Of course, I've got to make lots of these designs because she does some really awesome goth designs. And I was a little bit goth in my youth, but I couldn't put it on the outside because of the parents. Never got to experiment with anything on my appearance, really. Tried to be the good girl. Not make any waves, do what I was supposed to do, not cause any problems. You know, it's funny, you think that if you do all the proper things, do everything right, make sure not to hurt anyone, that life is going to work out with less pain for you. Wrong. Crushing defeat's always going to come after you. You're always going to have to suffer. Nobody gets through life unscathed. Some people say that the big drawback, the thing that they don't like about mosaic crochet, is all the ends you have to weave in. You don't have to weave them in, you could use them as a fringe. You could, if you're putting two pieces together, you can put this on the inside and then it's just on the inside of your project. Or you could, weave them in on the back. If you look at Alexis' suggestions on how to deal with these ends, she has a great tip on how to weave in the ends on the back a bit more efficiently. I would never have thought of that, but she did and she shared, so I'm probably going to try that someday, but I don't know. This backpack may just have fringe on it just because I want to be wild and fringy. Live on the fringe. Now we check and see if our chins are centered over the spine. Spines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tickle, tickle. Okay. Okay. And now we're on a row of solid single crochet in white. know some people are yarn snobs and crochet hook snobs and scissor snobs. I'm just not sure that it would improve my work to use fancier materials, tools, and things like that. Let's see, single crochets. Okay, I've done my border stitch. Excuse me for yawning. Done my border stitch there. So now, and it's in the front and back loop. So now we're doing a bunch of single crochets in the back loop. And I know somebody out there is going to be complaining because they can't see the detail of my stitches all that well. But this isn't a tutorial, really. This is meant to be ASMR. Something for you to focus on. Something for me to focus on. Okay, it's really my own emotional therapy after my panic attack. Today was the day that I found out a panic attack hangover is real. Maybe it's because it causes adrenal fatigue. Sorry, just had to check and make sure that you aren't staring at my power cords. Apologize for the lighting. I couldn't make it quite bright enough from the right direction in here. Wait a minute. Okay, my household AI assistant won't let me turn on my studio lamp. I tried doing it manually, but it's doing something weird. I love all my smart bulbs. I hate that I have to redo them every so often. This is also a border stitch, so it has to be, that single crochet has to be worked through both loops because it makes it a border stitch, because it's, well, I mean, it makes a better defined edge. And other reasons which I can't tell you because I don't really know, but I'm sure they know better than I do. They have good reason for doing it that way. Now we have our skillies beginning to get their hits. Okay. So, and on Mosaic Crochet, every other row is a different color. But you have all these wonderful color changes without having to change colors in the middle of a row. So you have nothing in the middle unless you run out of yarn. And that's really neat because I've seen people do multiple colors in a row. If you wanted to do this with, scrap yarn, you only have to have enough of one piece to go one row. Very handy. Border stitch, back and front loop. So now we start out with some double crochets that are going to completely hide that white. I do hope you don't mind me talking through this. For some reason it just happened. I started running my mouth. Single crochet, then there's a special stitch. What is the special stitch? Bobble stitch. Okay. You have just seen me learn a new stitch, bubble stitch, Mosaic Crochet bubble stitch, and it seems to look like it's supposed to, so I guess I did it right. Yay! Weird thing is that I'm doing a double crochet stitch into a previous row single crochet, and it says you're supposed to. So that bubble, that bubble. That looks kind of funky. You know what? As they say, trust the process. This is to make it have big eye holes. Trust the process. Wait and see how it looks. If you did it and it looks terrible, you can always rip it out. Okay. So there are several specialty stitches in these designs. However, Alexis does a great job of both explaining and illustrating and photographing them. So it's not hard or scary to learn the new stitches. Oh, need another one. Okay. Unless, of course, you're still left rather tender-hearted from a recent attack. Panic attack. Nobody physically attacked me. Just thrilled my hands have stopped shaking. Okay, so we're gonna go in there like we're doing a double. Wait, okay. Ba-da-boom. And we're gonna do a single where the nose is, and then we're gonna bobble it again. Bubble. Bubble, bubble, toilet. Oh. So, like I said, hopefully these bubbles will shine on the next row. Always loved Macbeth because of the witches and the ghosts. Always loved Hamlet because of the ghost. I was like, wow, crazy people. Ghosts, goblins, witches, yes. And then I saw the Titus Andronicus that Anthony Hopkins and Jessica Lange starred in. Talk about the old ultra-violence. Oh my gosh. That play was definitely rough around the edges, content-wise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And, well, I didn't turn it off, did I? I just kept watching. Because Titus Andronicus, it's got its tragic points and it's got its good points, and wrong place. Okay. Anyway, somehow watching Anthony Hopkins play a crazy man, or man crazed by grief, doesn't surprise me. He knows how to play that part well. Okay, 2. Yarn over. Oh, I lost it. Whoops. Try that again. Try the other loop up. Da, da, da. There we go. Bubble. Single crochet. Let's see. No. Okay, 7. Ooh, that looks terrible. It didn't even feel right. One of these things does not look like the other. But you know, you have to fix it. Oh, I could redo that bobble. Okay. Distraction is fine. See, it was supposed to be double crochets instead of singles. They're human. I know how to crochet. But this human has ADHD. Tends to lose focus at times. Okay, so we're wrapping this part up here with a single and a bobble. And another single and another bobble. Single to finish it off, and then we do a bunch of double crochets. There's also the possibility that this could end up as a patch on the back of a denim jacket that I wear. I wore it as a winter coat all year last year, but it's just a denim jacket. It's not really that warm. But if I added thick crocheted panels to it, I might have something there. 7, the magic number is 7. Okay, now we do a single crochet. And we do a bobble in the wrong row. Single crochet, and then we do our. So you've got a row here and a row here. I'm going to go down to this one because now I'm covering up the white yarn row. And I know it looks like I pulled really hard on that, but it's not that bad. It'll relax, it'll be fine. Throw it in the wash, it'll be grand. There we go. No one around here will ever notice in a million years because they don't know what I did. I think the first time that I ever saw Mosaic Crochet, I was bewildered because, I was like, how do you, what? I couldn't figure out how they did it. It was obviously crochet, but sorry, that was a hiccup. But I didn't know what it was, so I asked, and someone said, that's Mosaic Crochet. You need to learn it. It's wonderful. So here I am a couple years later, finally making a project with it. Yes. That will give me a little serotonin boost. Okay, so we're back on a white row. And this is where I do. Okay. Singles. Because they're just going to get covered up by another row anyway. Did I do that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you believe that last week my nails were long and even, and then they started to break one by one. These haven't quite broken off yet, but the left hand was longer than the right hand, so whatever. It's the way way the nails break, I guess. But I seem to be getting a little bit stronger now that my hypothyroidism is being treated. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, that's that bobble. This doesn't seem right. Maybe I can correct it. No, that ain't right either. No. Nay. Okay, got my border stitch. 4 singles. A double. Should be a single over the bobble. Okay. And then another double. How do I do that? Oh, down in there. Okay. Single, double, single, and then a double down here. Okay. And this should define the cheeks. Oh, look at that. We've got a little scully face. Isn't that cute? Very nice. Okay. We got some single crochets. Toilet trouble. That doesn't look right. Bubble weirdness. Okay, so this is the front. This is the back. Okay. Finish up his little skull, pop him eyes out. Look at that. Boing. Okay. Now we've got a bunch more singles, single crochet. Now, I'm American, so my single crochet has no yarn over. The first yarn over is double crochet. So I believe compared to the English, we are one off. Or something. Okay. Now, I don't think I need to look at the pattern. I can look back at my design and see. Come on. I did go into a real yarn store once in Memphis, and sticker shock about choked me. I'm sure it's nice to be able to, brag about the $28 Hank yarn you use to make your sweater, but then again you wind up with a sweater that costs $500 in materials to make. Heck, I don't even think I'm worth that. Right loop from that bobble because it's a little bit stringy. Still didn't do it right. Look at that. It may or may not ever be noticeable, but what if I leave it and go back in later and it's noticeable? All I will see is the flaw, mistake that I made. Here we go. Guess I'm lazy. I keep wanting long stretches of single crochets without having to do the work of putting in the actual pattern. I mean, I want to just do simple crocheting and have a beautiful, gorgeous pattern emerge from it, but it doesn't work like that. Not unless you're painting it. Make those cheekbones. There we go. Sometimes you can feel it when your yarn splits. You don't even have to see it. And then you think, ugh, that didn't feel right. That was not a successfully completed stitch. There we go. He's looking kind of scully. Okay. Oops. And then it's a border stitch, so we go through the top loop and the bottom loop. I mean, front loop and back loop. Not bad. Okay. I think I'll do one more row for you. Or part of the row. Depending on when someone drives into the driveway and starts slamming doors. Pull the tail through. Chain one. Border stitch, single crochet. Four double crochets, and these will cover up that side. Cover up those white stitches, and now we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do a bunch of, okay. Let me go straight across the void. See, those have successfully covered up. Yay. Oh, by the way, this is overlay mosaic crochet. There's also interlocking, which blew my mind. Interlocking apparently gives you the inverse pattern of the front on the back. I tried it, but it was too much for me. So I thought, well, get some satisfaction with this first. Recently started designing some t-shirts and putting them on Etsy. Hashtag keep Etsy human. I've gotten some looks, some views. Nobody's bought one yet. I think they're cute. You know? I mean, they're my designs. I drew them from scratch. But make more to put in there. And anyway, if you want to look at my Etsy shop, it's Valentine Dreamer, because I couldn't get Valentine Dreaming. Don't know why. But anyway, that's me selling t-shirts if you want to buy one. Trying to have some money for vacations, increase my retirement fund, all that good stuff. I used to sell designs, t-shirt designs on Zazzle years ago, but I would make a sale and then the commission wouldn't be enough for Zazzle to pay me. You had to have $20 in profit before they would pay you. So it would just carry over. Then they started charging me. So it was like I was designing t-shirts and they were the only ones profiting. I was not getting paid at all. Maybe it's because I'm not really adept at social media. I don't know. I don't like to do advertising. It's not fun. Makes me feel unconfident. Non-confident. I'm not sure you'd say that. But it's mostly a whole lot of what if they don't like me? Well, the truth is there are lots of people out there who don't like me. Why should I act like it's the first time, People are not going to like you. No matter how nice you are, no matter how kind you are, no matter how friendly you are. There will be people who don't like you. And it's fine. It'll be okay. Okay, so that one was... Okay. Here we go. This should make the skulls a little bit taller. That was a really thick piece of yarn. Ugh, that feels terrible. What's going on? Okay. Have a little puddle of yarn. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Looks like his head is getting really tall here. Is it supposed to be? Well, I guess it is. I guess it is. Okay. So, we'll just have to see. Looks like he's got Don King's hair. Maybe they're cone heads. Could be something to that. Cone heads among the blunt skulls. I was trying to pick up the back loop of the stitch instead of well, you know what I mean, the real back. If you want to learn how to do mosaic crochet, first learn how to do basic crochet with double crochets and single crochets, which isn't very hard to do, and then mosaic crochets. Piece of cake, because you already understand the stitches. It makes more sense that way. Also, if you're going to learn to do this, start with something small like a mug rug. If it goes badly, you can throw it away. If it doesn't go badly, you've got a cute little swatch. Mug rug. I mean, I wouldn't start with a full-scale blanket for the first mosaic crochet project if you're just learning it. But I have a feeling that after you do your first little project like this with all the different kinds of specialty stitches, then you'll probably be ready to make that blanket next. But the question is, do I need any more blankets around my house? Haven't I already stuffed it to the gills with my blankets? Maybe. But I have nephews. They'll have children someday. I have nieces too. And they're showing no desire to have children. Of course, only one of them's married. So. That is my elbow rubbing on the table. I'm sorry. What? No, these are supposed to be double crochets. Wait, or are they? Oh my gosh. These are supposed to be double crochets. I've got to rip this row out. Look at that. Oh well, must start over. Well, only a couple rows back really, but this is why it's called frogging. Rip it. Rip it. I must have been talking. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fix it. Yeah, my brain was like, oh, let's do the easy stitch. It's not that hard to go back and fix. Now I might have to have some more yarn added, but that's easy to fix too. Dumb mistake, but you know what? You should fix your mistakes. Because I guarantee there are going to be some mistakes you don't even see until you're all done and you don't want to go back. So, yeah, sometimes it bees that way. There we go. Now these were the singles, yes. Yes, they were. See, I'm going to have to join some more yarn. You know what? I'm going to do it right here. I'm just going to give it a long tail. It'll be fine. Where are they at? I'll deal with those later. Nobody's ever going to know except for you and me. And then we just continue trucking along. But we corrected our mistakes. Yay. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. It's when you refuse to correct the mistakes that you have problems. I'm human. I'm so very human. But it looks much better. And this part won't be that hard to fix. So, all they need is the tops of their skulls and the extra spine piece, and this piece will be done. But the noisy part of my day is about to begin. So, bye. Stay creative.